Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Raphael and I'm the community manager for Wirex, and welcome to this week's edition of the introduction to cryptocurrencies. So if you are a crypto curious person, I will be here to answer all of your Q&As and everything indeed. So thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Raphael, the community manager, and so let's get the ball rolling. First and foremost, I'd just like to apologize for the delay and also for my voice, because I am actually recovering from the flu. So if I sound a bit stuffy, don't judge me. You know the reason why. It's because I've got the flu. So thank you again for joining us. And what we're basically going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the technologies behind cryptocurrency, what's the best way to do it safely without risk, and essentially, you know, what Wirex is as well, and why we aim to bridge the gap between legacy financial banking systems and the future of cryptocurrencies. Behind me is a time lapse from the office window, so I'm doing this live from London, and welcome to this live webinar. You're all viewing me on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Feel free to leave comments below and I will pick them up after the webinar has ended. I've had a pretty crazy day here in London. You can see snow, so it was snowing today, and this is the stream. This is a feed from the office. So thank you guys again for joining, and let's get stuck in. So first and foremost, who is Wirex? What do Wirex do? Well, number one, Wirex is a award-winning company. We've won awards both in Europe and in Asia. Those are our two founders there. That's Pavel and that's Dimitri, and they are accepting an award from the SBI Group in Asia. Next is, obviously, we operate in over 130 different countries around the world, and that's resulted in us having over 1 million global subscribers and processing over 1 billion transactions, which is worth over $1 billion in transactions, and that's also accumulated to 3,000 new users per day. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know, they say imitation is the best form of flattery. We're one of the most imitated companies out there. Wirex is one of the first mobile Bitcoin wallets paired with a traditional debit card. So that's who we are. And also one more thing, we're not just a Bitcoin wallet. We also support up to 50 other cryptocurrencies through Shapeshift. How do we do that? That's through a virtual and plastic payment card, a mobile banking app that is available on iOS and Android. You can download for free now. You get instant currency exchange, so you can exchange Bitcoin to pounds, euros, or dollars, and transfer of Bitcoin, which is free and instant in the Wirex ecosystem. And also on top of that, you get state-of-the-art security, which is two-factor authentication and multi-layer secure certificates as well. So that's essentially the rundown of Wirex. You know, that gives you an idea of what we do and why we know a lot about cryptocurrencies. And in essence, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is on course to change everything about how we use the internet today. And the money or currency application of blockchain technology is just the tip of the iceberg. It is the simplest and easiest application to run on this technology. And this is set to greatly improve and revolutionize the entire infrastructure of the internet with the view of making things cheaper, faster, and most importantly, more secure. Cryptocurrencies are the first application. This is our email moment. Now remember, I said email a moment because we're going to go back to that concept later on in the presentation. And the fact of the matter is, the technology is already taking off. You guys wouldn't be here probably if you hadn't heard something about cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin in general. It's empowered millions of people around the world, and it's already made millionaires of some people too. And we're going to explore why and how within this presentation. But first and foremost, let's look at what you guys have probably already heard, and that is most likely a lot of it will maybe be negative. A lot of it's been positive as of recently. So I don't know. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin's a bit of a media star at the moment. There's been a few stories out today. It gained notoriety back in the early use back in the early 2011, 2012, with it being the go-to currency for people buying illegal and illicit things online. It was also highlighted as being demanded as ransom for hijacked company data, and a lot of financial publications have focused on how the price rise, the price spike, will be short-lived. The reputation that cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, has had within the media, especially the mainstream, has usually been negative or fatalistic in a lot of cases. But unfortunately, a lot of these articles haven't recognized Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as the best performing investment asset class of the last 7 years, bar 2014. The technology behind cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is usually ignored. The reasons for its climb is usually never examined, and information on the underlying technologies behind blockchain is usually obscure. And this is the thing, right? It's put a lot of people off even expanding their knowledge, and it's put a lot of people off heightening their curiosity into the technology itself. And that's where someone like me comes in. So that's me there giving a keynote speech at the Dash conference. I've been sort of studying cryptocurrency for the past four years, even more actually. For 4 or 5 years, and I got into cryptocurrency for 3 main reasons. Number one, I love technology. I absolutely adore technology. I'm usually one of the first people to try out new bits of kit, from PDAs to VR to 4G to Wi-Fi. You name it, I had it within. I'm always an early adopter. Number two is that I have followed and I've studied economics, and I understand how money works, and I understand what the banks and corrupt economic systems are capable of doing, and I'm in this really and truly for a better financial and economic future. But primarily, I think blockchain and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are the start of a technological revolution, more so than a financial one. But I think that the financial revolution will be a much bigger thing, but it is dependent on the technological revolution, or it's part of the technological revolution. It might be the first step in the technological revolution, but it's to be seen. But we're going to discuss why I think that way, and the technologies behind it too. And the fact of the matter is, 2008 happened. I became pretty dismayed with the state of the economic system and the monetary system. And to see that in since 2008, over 2 million people in the US lost their homes, and people defaulted on their mortgages and lost their jobs. And then if you compare this is a very morbid topic, I'm sorry to say, apologies in advance. If you compare the suicide rates to subprime mortgage crisis to post-subprime mortgage crisis, the suicide rate increased in the US nearly 4-fold, which is very devastating to the families of those victims. And this was caused by economic policy. Economic policy literally led to people becoming homeless and killing themselves. And a lot of people would view that as criminal, but in this case, it wasn't, and barely anybody went to prison, and I found that pretty disturbing. And I didn't want to succumb to being another sort of what I like to describe them as personally as maybe debt slaves, dependent on sort of an economic welfare system, and where 1% of people own nearly 50% of the wealth. So this is one of the reasons why I sort of studied and examined cryptocurrency as a big thing. But then, the fact of the matter is still, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is not perfect. It faces some challenges, and I mean, like with all markets, you've seen the price go up and down, seen a lot of negative news about it, about China banning it or countries making it illegal and so forth. So we're going to explore, we're going to ignore a lot of that, and we're going to explore the main reasons behind it. And I mean, you know, this is for the curious person that wants to expand their knowledge and sort of look at alternative research or alternative information with regards to cryptocurrency, as opposed to relying on mainstream sources. And you know, you guys have probably heard about the person who lost a few thousand Bitcoin on a hard drive. You guys have probably heard about people buying at the absolute peak. I know a few people that bought $19,000 Bitcoin back in December, and they're crying because that $19,000 Bitcoin is now worth $10,000. And this is the thing: if you're one of those people who doesn't want to end up like that, you're in the exact right place. This is where you need to be with regards to understanding the technology, because knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, the more information you have in your fingertips, the more able you are to make a concise and concrete decision on what you want to do. And of course, this isn't financial advice. Please take everything I'm saying here with a pinch of salt. A lot of this is conjecture and opinion based on a lot of research and so forth. So please feel free to comment and we'll continue this discussion. But that's the thing, you know, you could be investing in other things that have been recommended by other people. For example, you could leave your money sitting in the bank earning about 0.25% interest per year, or maybe invest in the stock market. Like I used to actually invest in the stock market, where you can earn sort of maybe X percentage gains over X amount of years. But that's the thing, you know, I doubt you're that type of person. If you're here, you're probably here to learn more about cryptocurrencies, and maybe you're thinking about putting some money into the space as well. But the thing is, you know, even if you're super keen about piling any money into it, do your due diligence and do all the research. And if that's part of your process, you're definitely in the right place. So now we're going to get into the real stuff about it and try and understand who, what, where, when, why, how, and whatnot. So first and foremost, cryptocurrency was developed by a man named Satoshi Nakamoto. He published the Bitcoin white paper, which is called, I'll just put it up on screen for you. So it was called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. This was published in 2008, and essentially this was the first paper published by Satoshi Nakamoto, outlining what Bitcoin is, what it does, and how it works, and the cryptography behind it. It's really, really interesting. If you've got some time, I recommend reading this. This is kind of like the original Bitcoin Bible. And yeah, this was Genesis for crypto. Satoshi Nakamoto is a nom de plume. Who, for those of you that don't understand French, that's a term given to someone that uses a pseudonym, a fake name, to keep their real identity anonymous. So nobody actually knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. It's a lot of people speculate that it's a group of people that developed this technology, and they launched the Bitcoin blockchain in 2008 that everything basically went from. And nobody knows where it was, where Satoshi Nakamoto came from. A lot of people speculate it's probably the US, because the majority of Bitcoin was circulating in the early days throughout the US. And why did he do it? The reasons why Satoshi Nakamoto basically released this is because two reasons. The main problem with digital spending is the double spend problem, and he wanted to solve that. And also a lot of the same reasons that I've outlined at the beginning, which was with regards to financial and economic liberty and freedom, which we can get into more. As you can see, he released it on the 31st of October 2008, straight after the sort of subprime mortgage crisis. So you can see a lot of parallels between those schools of thoughts there. But the thing is, right, it didn't make it very easy. The protocols on the Bitcoin blockchain are some of the most advanced and most complex protocols that have been developed to date. And for very good reason, because they are a brand new set of technology protocols. And the thing is, it can be quite complex to open these Bitcoin wallets, to open trading accounts on Poloniex and Bittrex, and figuring out how to use those order books with limit orders versus market orders, trailing stop losses, and trying to successfully time the market to buy and sell, or looking for good entry points and so forth. And I mean, if you're geeky, that might suit you, or if you've got previous trading experience, that might suit you. I mean, good luck. But you know, here at Wirex, we actually have a technical analysis charting specialist, and you can catch us on Thursdays where we go through what we think are our predictions and last week's movements and so forth. But for the majority of, for the majority of us and the profile of person that uses Wirex, they just want things to be as simple and as straightforward and as fast as secure as possible. And I mean, if you're, if you don't have much time on your hands, Wirex is perfect for you. I mean, even if you do have a lot of time on your hands, like if you're a trader or a miner or so forth, Wirex is also perfect for you because it saves you a lot of time, effort, and money. And the thing is, I'm always trying a whole new bunch of different Bitcoin-related and cryptocurrency-related apps and services. So I'm usually posting about them on the Wirex community forum as well, and that's a really good source for information, as well as our YouTube, our Twitter, and our Facebook pages, where you can actually see me interview sort of CEOs from other cryptocurrency companies and blockchain companies. So those are really, really interesting, and I definitely recommend you check those out after this. But, let's get back to the real reason why you joined this webinar, which is obviously with regards to the technological aspects behind cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and what they mean for you. So let's get into where it all began. Literally, the reason why you're here watching this today began because of this moment. Now, in the beginning of this presentation, I said to you guys that cryptocurrency, the currency aspect of blockchain technology, is our email moment. Now, why did I say cryptocurrency is our email moment? Well, because email was the first application, the first real application on the internet protocol. Internet is a set of protocols, just like blockchain is a set of protocols. And the first email was sent by computer engineer Ray Tomlinson back in 1971, nearly 50 years ago, nearly 50 years ago as well. And it was sent on the ARPANET, which was a very small network of computers, and this was the precursor to the internet. And obviously email became much more established as the means of communication, and it was used a lot more by sort of academic institutions, universities, for peer-to-peer reviewing documents. And this was Genesis moment. This basically was the proof of concept for the internet. This proved that the internet could exist in its current format. It proved that computers could communicate to each other. I mean, the reason why you're able to view this right now is because my computer is communicating to a server based in the United States, and that server based in the United States is communicating with your computer back at home. And what that was resulted in is a live feed. You actually see me live on your computer screen. And that was all dependent back on this moment 50 years ago. I mean, even to those that are watching this on your mobile phones, mobile phone internet technology would not have existed if it wasn't for this moment. Fast forward nearly 20 years, you get the next application for Bitcoin and blockchain. The next application for the internet protocol, the next real usable one. And that was the World Wide Web. World Wide Web was created by Tim Berners-Lee in 1989, and this allowed people to view a sort of web page based on a address. And that means loads of people could view the same content at the same time on the same address, and it was probably the next sort of concrete application for this technology. So email and messaging was first, and the World Wide Web was second. And the first websites were really, really basic, but it took 20 years, nearly 20 years, to get from the first application to the second application. And with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin currently, blockchain technology, cryptocurrency is the first application. Bitcoin is the first application. Bitcoin is the proof of concept, and cryptocurrencies are the proof of concept. Now, where this gets really interesting is with regards to the technology itself. You guys, to access this service, to view me live on Facebook or Twitter or maybe even YouTube, all of those services ask you for your email address. And you still need to use your email address as a sort of key to access all of these second, tertiary layer protocols or applications on the internet protocol. And what that has resulted in is that's resulted in an ability to view me in real time, live, and hear me and see me and communicate with me. You can leave me comments on this in real time, live. And those applications stemmed all the way back from what happened in 1970 with Ray Tomlinson, and then furthermore with Tim Berners-Lee. Now, with blockchain, we've got more than one application currently past proof of concept stage. So with blockchain, Bitcoin was turned on to the end of 2008, sort of 2009. So it's only around 9 years old, going on 10. And in those 10 years, we've already got 3 applications that are past proof of concept stage. The first application is cryptocurrency. As you guys will know, it's the most popular application currently for this protocol. There's over 1,500 cryptocurrencies currently in existence that run their own sort of separate versions of it. The next application is, of course, smart contracts. So those of you who've heard of Ethereum, that's a smart contract platform. And that's an application that basically allows you to program contractual obligations and program payouts of contractual obligations on a blockchain, which is really, really cool, really interesting. And that's being discussed currently. That was discussed by California. So California has proposed a bill with regards to recognizing smart contracts as legally binding documents. And the third application of this protocol is games. So you guys might have heard of CryptoKitties, which is a decentralized, purely autonomous game that works on the Ethereum network, or Neopets or Tron Dogs. There's a few of them, but those are just basically, proof of concepts, proofs that you can run these sorts of applications using this technology. But it all started with the internet because, again, the infrastructure to run blockchain technologies only exists because the internet exists. If the internet never existed, we couldn't really do blockchain technologies. We might be able to do the maths behind them, the algorithms and the cryptography behind them, but you'd need a lot of brains hashing a lot of maths to get to get those things. But it's possible. So someone has actually been able to hash some of the Bitcoin algorithm on, with brain power using a pen and paper. So it's not impossible, and that's all it is at the moment. It's purely it's algorithms, it's mathematics. That's what lies at the root of all of this. But also this. So before the cryptographic aspect came along, the double spend solution, we had pre-blockchain sort of technologies, which are peer-to-peer technologies. Now, you guys probably recognize a few of these icons or these applications. And these applications are using technologies that are within most blockchains, especially the Bitcoin blockchain, and that is peer-to-peer networks. So uTorrent, BitTorrent, Vooz, all of these are peer-to-peer networks, and back in sort of 2007, these accounted for 40 to 50% of all internet traffic. So all of the data, nearly half of all the data moving on the internet was thanks to these sites. And how they worked is essentially a person could share a file, a film, a bit of music, a book, even a program. They could share that file and duplicate that file hundreds, thousands, potentially millions of times around the world, and have that an identical copy copied onto everybody else's computer around the world. And what that resulted in is, well, it resulted in a few things. Number one, an immutable sort of these networks are still running today. You can still download these applications, and they're still in full force today. They don't account for anywhere near as much internet traffic as they used to in the past, because we have services that are paid for that are much safer and more secure and better than sort of bootlegging pirated material, which the majority of these was for. But these are still very much up and running. You cannot turn them off. To turn off a peer-to-peer network, you would have to disable every single participant on the network, which is, logistically impossible. And that's what blockchain also runs off. Blockchain has no essential server. What does that mean? Well, for example, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, you're not connecting directly to my computer. You're connecting to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter's server based somewhere. 9 times out of 10, it's in Silicon Valley in the US, and they maybe have 2 backup ones in sort of Asia somewhere. But if their server gets unplugged, a plug falls out or something, an error happens, or something happens on the server side, number one, you won't, you'll try and access the service, the application that they're running on that server, and you'll get an error message. Usually it's 404, 504, 304. They all mean different things. 404 is the worst. That's the most common as well. And that's it. You cannot, I cannot communicate to you through that service. We'll have to find an alternative. And that's the same with Facebook. That's the same with Twitter. That's the same with YouTube. That's the same with every internet-based application available. So even your mobile banking, for example, you can also receive a 404 error on that if somebody unplugs your bank's server. With a peer-to-peer network, the service or the application can run on all of the participants, the network itself. So when you download the application and you launch the application, your computer is contributing to the network, and it's contributing to the running of the network. And a few things have made that possible. Number one, it's the infrastructure. So a lot of people don't realize that, my smartphone that I bought sort of last year in 2017, this smartphone has more processing power than the computer that sent the man to the moon for the Apollo missions, right? My smartphone can compute more algorithms per second than the computer that sent the first man to the moon, and it's a very capable device. On top of that, my smartphone, your computer that you're currently viewing this on, is probably more powerful than the data centers that were running Wall Street in the financial sector back in the 70s. And those computers, the one that launched the Apollo mission into space, and the ones that launched the ones that basically ran Wall Street, those computers are huge. They were huge. They were the size of buildings, entire floors. Now, that processing power is now condensed into the size of a small tablet that everybody can fit in the palm of their hands. What's even more remarkable is that there are more of these very, very powerful computers in people's hands, then there, you know, I can't think of a comparison. I need to remember one for another time. But just know that there are, I think, billions of these. I think it's safe to say there are billions of smartphones around the world that can essentially accommodate or be part of a peer-to-peer network and computer and so forth. And the only way to disrupt that sort of service is to turn off every single participant, every single computer, every single mobile phone that is using the network, that is contributing to the network. And in short, that is a logistical impossibility. It's logistically impossible to do that. So, because you'd need to have access to at least to at least 50% of the entire network at one time, at the exact same time. So, you know, and the same goes for trying to hack it or manipulate it. You'd need to have access to. So if, for example, if I wanted to corrupt the file that people, because I released the film and I didn't, I wanted it to sell it in the cinema, and I didn't want people to watch it illegally and through file sharing services, and I wanted to corrupt that file that everybody was sharing. I need to have access to at least 51% of all of the computers on that network sharing the file to corrupt that file, so that when people try and watch it, they get a virus or something. And the exact same thing goes for the Bitcoin blockchain. All of the active participants have an exact copy of the entire Bitcoin blockchain, and for them to hack Bitcoin or to demand a different form of or to change the account values of the participants on the network, they would have to have at least access to 51% of all of the computers on the Bitcoin blockchain network. And it's logistically impossible. And the more users that join the network and the more nodes that are created on the network, the more impenetrable it becomes and the more robust it becomes, because you are, it is like the herd effect. In biology they have this term called the herd effect. The more people that are immunized against the disease, the harder it is for the disease to affect the herd. And it's similar with Bitcoin. The more people that use the Bitcoin network, the harder it is for any single entity or any entity to try and corrupt or destabilize the network. And that's what makes it more secure than most of the internet-based applications that we currently have today. It's probably, by magnitudes of 10 hundreds, it is very, very, it's it's a much better protocol than the one that we're using currently. So this is the thing, right? It is a change in internet technology. It's using the current infrastructure that we have to launch a new protocol. The current infrastructure being, your telephone lines, the 4G network, satellite communications, and so forth. This is a new protocol using that infrastructure. And but the thing is, this still raises a lot of questions as to, what is a cryptocurrency? Well, it's the simplest application that you can run on this protocol in the same way that email was the simplest application that you can run on the internet protocol. This is the simplest application that you can run on blockchain. And it's really, really, really to be seen whether this is going to be, number one, a financial revolution or a technological revolution, or both. So this is why we're here, and I think it is going to be both. I think definitely it's going to be a financial revolution as well as a technological one. And it's just going to be the order in which that's going to happen is going to be it's going to be cool. I think, to be honest, it's probably going to be a financial revolution first and the technological revolution second, because the first application is finance. And like with the internet, the first application of the internet was communication, and that's where the first revolution happened. It was a communications revolution. People were able to communicate around the world instantly for free. Cryptocurrency, people will be able to transact with anybody they want around the world instantly for free without any middleman. Which is in itself is something that's never happened in human history before. In the same way that people being able to communicate with anybody around the world instantly for free was something that never happened in human history before, back in the 70s. So But again, like, this is program, right? This is just ones and zeros. What gives it value is, it's built on thin air. It doesn't have any value behind it. Well, no, not at all. It's the usefulness of the program behind it that gives it value. For example, we talked about programs earlier. We had torrenting programs and other things. Well, you're viewing this. Chances are 9 out of 10 of you are probably viewing this on either a Windows or Mac operating system, an iOS or Windows OS, right? And that is also a program that is just built on thin air. But to buy a Windows license key, it's not cheap, and you have to pay for it. And that is a program that you are actively paying for. Bitcoin, to use the Bitcoin network to download and install a Bitcoin program, the Wirex Bitcoin wallet, for example, it's free to download and install, but it's a very, very useful program. And it's the usefulness that gives it value. It's the usefulness that compels people to buy the Microsoft license key, and compels computer manufacturers to install Microsoft and pay Microsoft to install Windows on their devices. And this is the thing. The Bitcoin software is also answers a lot of other problems. So the double spend problem, which if we go back to if we discuss torrenting very quickly again, the value of that digital file is compromised if you can copy it hundreds and hundreds and thousands of times. Because if everybody can have a copy for free, no value can be attributed to it. Now, the cryptography aspect of blockchain basically revolutionizes this, and for the first time you are able to attribute signatures to digital files. That means that if I have one Bitcoin, I can't spend it with you, and then a few seconds later I spend a copy of the exact same Bitcoin with another person, right? So the Bitcoin blockchain is programmed to allow only 21 million Bitcoins to ever be in existence, and the location of each and every one of those 21 million Bitcoins is recorded by every single participant on the network. So for you to change the location of one of those Bitcoins, you would need to have access, like I said earlier, to at least half the network to do this. And, it also can't be copied. You can't copy or corrupt or change the Bitcoin blockchain, and that's stored on every single active participant's computer. And the code itself is open source and decentralized, which means that, it exists and on many people's things, and it's also democratic and autonomous. So if you tried to corrupt the Bitcoin blockchain on your computer and then connect it to the Bitcoin network, the network would reach a consensus and basically say, well, yours doesn't match our consensus, so we are going to eject you from the network, or we're going to actually go into your computer and correct the compromises in your blockchain, and so it matches the network consensus. And it's also democratic, so there are things that you can do to the Bitcoin program to make it better, because it's like when you get an update on your Mac or your Windows, an update needs to be installed. Well, you want to make the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin blockchain, the Bitcoin network better, right? So it makes sense to allow updates on it, but they can only be democratically enacted. So a consensus of, in some cases, 80% of the entire network has to be reached for a BIP to be accepted and then installed across all the nodes on the network. A BIP is literally, it stands for Bitcoin Improvement Protocol. Or proposal, actually, and then it becomes a protocol if it gets accepted. So there's a few very famous BIPs. BIP 48 was SegWit, which was August last year. So those are this system actually works. It's very democratic, and every participant in the network has nearly an equal stake. So there, no, it doesn't matter even if if you own one Bitcoin or 0.001 of a Bitcoin. Every participant in the network has an equal stake, and that's the other thing as well. Although 21 million Bitcoins, only 21 million Bitcoins will ever be created or ever exist, those 21 million Bitcoins are infinitely divisible. So you can have a Satoshi, which is 1/10 millionth of a Bitcoin, and you can even go lower than that if we need to. But a Satoshi is very, very small. So this is the thing, right? Cryptocurrency is the first application, the proof of concept. And there's over 1,000 cryptocurrencies. A lot of them have very different utilities to the one that Bitcoin has. A lot of them have very similar and are literally like almost carbon copies of the Bitcoin protocol. And like I said, there are other ones coming up, and that are being used for smart contracts. So some of these are currencies that are used to liquidate and process smart contracts. Populous and Ethereum, those are two very good examples of that. Populous is I think Populous is for invoice contracts, but Populous yeah, but there's lots of different applications that currently exist for that. And the thing is, right, there are so many. Some cryptocurrencies are used as digital permission tokens within computer software that allow you to utilize the processing power of another person's computer for your needs. So Render Token is one of those examples, and Render Token essentially allows you to either sell or rent someone's computer power to play a computer game, or to render videos on Adobe. So if you're a content creator and you don't have the money to buy your own, really powerful computer needed to make those amazing blockbuster computer effects and CGI, you can go onto the render network and rent someone's processing power to render those items for you on your computer. So it's really, really cool, and we're at the very, very beginnings of what this technology means and what it can do. And the thing is, right, the first application is cryptocurrency. It's financial. So and the fact of the matter is, this is like email has stuck around very, very long and it's still a very integral part of the current internet ecosystem. I'm pretty sure cryptocurrencies will also hold the same respect down 10-20 years down the line. And though don't quote me on that, this is just my opinion and it's speculation, technological speculation. It's not investment advice. And here at Wirex, this is what we aim to do. We aim to bridge the gap between legacy banking and legacy financial systems with the future, the cryptographic future. And we aim to do that whilst providing an amazing service that's low cost, hiring enough support staff to meet the demand for the service, and training them all up so they can provide the level of customer service that you deserve. And then also on top of that, our biggest overhead is our development team in Kiev that work round the clock, because when you are releasing a brand new untested technology, there are a lot of problems that can come around, and you need a lot of brain power, really and truly, because you're in completely uncharted waters. Nobody's ever done this sort of thing before, and we want these new apps, these new features, these new technologies to meet our vision and your vision for cutting edge, revolutionary finance. Despite all of the industry changes and challenges, Wirex want to grow from strength to strength. Even though, like every startup, we're gonna have issues, especially in an industry where nobody's ever done it before. And I'm sure you guys have seen that already. You've probably seen a few better customers here and there that badmouth us on social media, or because their support ticket hasn't been picked up on time, or the app times out because server capacity is being hit. We have thousands and thousands of loyal customers and fans who eagerly share our new website and do this. And what Wirex does is it bridges the gap between legacy technologies and the future financial technologies. So, we use data centers, we use servers, but the infrastructure behind that is obviously a bridge between blockchain and a bridge between old school banking. And that's exactly why 3,000 new members join the Wirex community every day. And these guys get access to our 2FA multi-currency wallet, which has a Bitcoin wallet as well as currency accounts as well. And soon to come, we're going to have other things joining the family. 0% exchange fees on cryptocurrencies and traditional currency exchanges. A free virtual Visa payment card, and soon to be a contactless card coming into the mix as well, that will allow you to spend anywhere a Visa card is accepted. And a customer-only insider circle that will give you new investment ideas and new startup companies to watch and potentially invest in the blockchain industry and more. But again, none of this would be possible without you guys, our community, and we truly depend on you for everything that we do. So this is the thing. We don't know. You guys help us learn about our flaws. You guys tell us about any bugs in the application. You guys tell us when the website, it could be better. And I mean, believe me, I've seen it with my own eyes in the past. The Wirex team are one of the quickest with regards to taking that feedback on board and turning it around into something positive, with new updates being released almost every week and new service features. And this is the thing, the Bitcoin lifestyle is beginning to build up more and more as more people around the world discover Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Here at Wirex, we believe our customers are pioneers of a new era of financial and technological certainty, security, and abundance. And we're one of the very few Bitcoin companies that are working hard to make this an absolute reality. So the platform itself leaves no sort of room for difficulties. It's as simple as possible. If you've used an iOS or one of those really user-friendly operating systems, that is what cryptocurrency offers. That is what Wirex offers to people that want to use this service, right? And the platform itself is point and click easy, right? Buying Bitcoin takes minutes, loading up your Wirex payment card takes seconds, and spending it can take even less. So nothing beats the feeling of checking your crypto portfolio every morning and seeing the value go up by $100 every few days. Today, it's gone up. Yesterday it was $9,000. Today it's over $10,000. Last month it was nearly $20,000. So that's something to bear in mind as well. Do your due diligence. Learn where the good exits and the good entry points are, and we're actually on here. We provide that information nearly every Thursday, though it's speculation, it's not investment advice. So it's just our ideas and our hints, and it's the more information the more knowledge you have, the more educated and the more able you are to make those decisions that you need to make. And the magic comes from our customer community. You give us ideas. If you go into the community.wirexapp.com forum, we actually discuss what potential trend lines that we should look at in the crypto chart analysis. We actually go through the coins that you want us to do technical analysis on, and so forth. So check out those videos. Go onto YouTube. Go onto our Facebook page, and you can see what we do, what we get up to. And we even go through so not only will you be helping to change the world for the better, you'll also be learning about cryptocurrencies in real time that have the highest potential, where potentially to get in. And we've recently seen the likes of Monero, Dash, Litecoin, and Ether, those cryptocurrencies that have gone over hundreds of dollars. And everybody's now looking for the next ones. So let's continue that discussion, and our community is one of the best places to get that information. So this is the thing. What's in it for Wirex, right? Why are you doing all of this for everyone? What's in it for you guys? Well, it's all well and good seeing the value of your cryptocurrency portfolio go up hundreds and maybe even thousands of dollars. Like someone like me who's been in cryptocurrency since 2014, an asset that I saw being a couple of pennies is now worth tens of thousands of dollars, right? So I've seen that happen in real life, in real time, and I expect, in my opinion, I still feel that the technological or financial thing isn't fully reached. We haven't reached its full potential. We're very far away from that, in my honest opinion. We're like sort of 1985 if you compare the blockchain protocol to the internet protocol, right? So this is the thing, right? It's all very good seeing it rise, but how are you going to actually translate that to benefit? How are you going to translate that to values? Well, this is what Wirex is here for. So we make it super easy, super fast, and super quick for you to convert your cryptocurrency into spendable currencies. The end goal is to make cryptocurrencies the spendable currency, but it's not going to be an overnight change. This is something that will take a lot of time. It's like how long it took for fax machines to stop being sold when the email came out. Like, some people still use fax machines. So you're not going to be able to go out tomorrow and spend Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, or Monero at your local merchant. They are not going to accept those cryptocurrencies yet. They might do in the future, but the way that we can bridge the gap is by giving you a means to pay them in traditional currencies, but using the future technologies, cryptographic future technologies. So that's where we come in, and that's what we need from you. We need you to champion our application, to make other people aware that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is actually really easy to use, and this is where they will benefit from it, that you'll be able to join them and get them into the new technological revolution. And that's basically everything with regards to this Crypto Curious Q&A and crash course, and that's pretty much everything that we've got covered for you today. I hope you've enjoyed that. My name is Raphael. I'm the community manager for Wirex. This has been a cryptocurrency crash course, giving you the lowdown on the technologies, the fundamentals, and everything behind Bitcoin, and what this could mean for you and the future of the internet as well, the future of finance too. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please share this video with anybody else that doesn't or is curious themselves and wants to learn more about it. And please also subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the icon, because a lot of content gets put on there. And also check out our community forum and join the conversation, continue the conversation there as well. My name's Raphael, and I'm the community manager for Wirex, and this has been your Crypto Curious Q&A, and that's it from me this evening or morning or afternoon for wherever you are watching this around the world. I'm signing off now. Take care and stay wired.